Okay, how about now? Yes, it is coming through. Okay, much, much better. Whew, that was a close call. And what about here on Zoom? Just want to make sure that, yeah, okay, we're all good. That was a really close call. Okay, well, hello everyone. I just was a couple of minutes in when I realized that I did not have any sound. So therefore, welcome Facebook, welcome to the rest of the people. I'm sorry, I just didn't notice that the sound was not coming in on your end. Still Jeff, week 2, third play-along practice sessions. I'm doing these to apply what we learned during week 2. So I'm gonna go over again, and I am just gonna look at what we need to do with you, with everyone on the call. All right, so week 2, we talked about a bunch of things, but I'm gonna focus on the finger warm-up to get started, which is right here. Awesome. Yeah, I'll work on align this. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna do it a bit better. By the way, you could tell you can now take notes in your different classes. There you go. All better. Okay, so we should warm up for all the reasons listed here, and we talked about different things that we could warm up with. I'm gonna go with a combination of finger yoga and a new exercise. And for those that haven't seen it just yet, I would highly recommend going to see my dedicated video on finger yoga. So setting myself a timer for 5 minutes and going to warm up with finger yoga. And just a reminder, the goal, you don't have to start at the first fret if you're not comfortable, if you don't have the stretches just yet. However, you might want to do that maybe at the 5th fret is a good starting point if you're not sure. So something like this. And you're aiming for perfect technique and making sure you're programming your hands. Again, this is a big part of building your confidence. Make sure you watch for the sound. Here, I was not close. I was actually too close to the fret. I was on the fret. And breathe. So hold those fingers in place for 5 seconds. As you progress, you might want to try it at the 4th fret. Okay? Stay in 1 fret, not like, don't do what I'm doing right now. The goal is to transition. Again, I'm doing this 5 minutes. That's a good warm-up time. Same concept. If you're able to do it at the 3rd fret, that's even better. The challenge with each fret that you're going down like so is the stretch becomes bigger, and therefore you might have to help out your hand a little like so. And your hand might not be cooperating at first, which is fine, and it might slide back. You need to just be gentle, patient, bring it back. Eventually the stretch will bring, especially if you're breathing. So, nice. Wonderful, and that's it. Excellent. Okay, awesome. So that's the finger yoga, and of course you need to do it on the way back down too. But it's not a race. So if you're after 5 minutes, wherever you're at, you could just stop. I'm going down to the 2nd fret because I want to show different examples. But ultimately, don't do more than 1 fret per week. But when you feel it's becoming too easy, the 5th fret, then that's your cue to switch to the 4th fret, and so on and so forth. I'm going to switch to the 1st fret. Feel adventurous today. And breathing. Around 5 real seconds per finger. And again, you're holding down as you're going through. Awesome. Excellent. And wonderful. Okay. That's pretty good. That's going to come in handy because we're going to work on chord changes today, which is something we saw earlier during the week. So, so if you're bored with, I'm going to switch cameras real quick. If you're bored with the finger yoga exercise, again, the goal here, it should burn a little. I mean, even though I've been doing this for years, keep an eye out on how your hand is feeling. If you need to shake it off, take a little break, massage it a little. That's fine. That's nice. Hand massage is always good. Anyway, so that's the whole idea with this hand. I have another one that's for those that are not working on stretching, or maybe this has become too easy for you. Maybe you just want to change it up where you feel like extra warm up, which is also a good idea. So a variation on this one, which I really like, again, start at the fret that suits you. So it doesn't have to be the first fret, but I'm just going to demonstrate here. So you want to do finger pairs. I'm going to put that in the course. So first finger pair is 1, 2. So you're just going up the neck. Ideally 5 seconds, but here it's more about dexterity. So we want to work on that. And you might use a different technique for your picking hand. It might be just your index like so. And you're just going 1, 2. That's the first finger pair like that. Go slow. Practice is always about going slow. And you're not judging if there are mistakes. That's cool. Next finger pair, well, of course, that would be 1, 3. I know it sounds like mathematics, but you thought you were done. 1, 3. Math. Love it. And you get the point. So you could do, again, next one would be, I guess, 1, 4. I'm going a bit faster because I'm going to run out of time. That's my timer. Yes, I know. Wow, that was loud. Sorry. Sorry, that was overly loud. Need to choose my alarm in a more wise fashion next time. 1, 4, you get the point. So that's a nice way to change it up for your warm-up. Okay, cool. So I'm going to come back. So I have warmed up, and I chose today that I was going to warm up my fingers on this hand because I'm going to be doing a bunch of chord changes. Again, programming. First 2 weeks are all about those foundations. So I'm going to be programming my hand here to make sure I could perform chord changes with ease moving forward, especially when it comes down to everything pertaining to, the way it works is simple. If I'm comfortable changing chords, then it means I don't need to pay too much attention to that, which means then I could focus on strumming or singing or whatever is, or faster chord changes, whatever it is. So you really want to take that time. It's a good investment. You're not going to impress anyone like with that, but you'll know like the small improvements you're making. All right, moving on. So I did warm up. That was great. Thank you, Jeff, for warming up. Let's talk quickly about chord changes. Okay, let's go. So I'm going to open up this one. The videos are up, by the way, for those that don't remember. I put a few chord changes here, but really we should be, I'm going to extend that list probably next class. But these are some basic ones. What you want to be good at eventually, I mean, I realize there's a wide range of levels in the class. So therefore, I'm trying to be mindful of that. So wherever you're at right now is cool. I guess I would encourage everyone to make it a goal. Some of you might already be there, to be able to transition between all the, we call them open position chords. So anything that doesn't have like a bar chord in it, basically, or that's not a movable chord. That's something that you could just be doing here. The most common ones, I'll list them, but you should be able to transition between those. I guess that's the first step comfortably. So choosing a pair of those, I mean, there's just a fixed amount of combination. I would recommend doing that even before throwing in things like an E chord or a B flat chord or a bar chord or a movable chord, because the stronger you are at that, the easier it is to add these things later. So let's do it. So let's use the techniques we talked about. I'm going to start with C and A minor because that's the easiest one. And I'm just going to switch cameras as I do that. I'm going to go back to that hand camera. So what we talked about, we want to have a metronome preferably. And we could combine it with, actually I might have to switch back. Darn it. I'll get there. Just give me one quick second. And there we go. Okay, good. Nope. Sometimes the joys of life. Yeah, thank you for bearing with me. But the good thing is that I guess I could adapt as I go along. So, which is fantastic. Okay, let's go. This is what I wanted to share. Nice. Okay. So what we want to do here, we're going to be switching chords, and I would recommend starting with the easiest one, which is the whole note. And once you're comfortable, I'm going to be moving on to the half notes and then to the quarter note. So this is the plan. All right. Now that this is established, let's do it between C and A minor. I would recommend setting up a metronome. Probably a good starting speed is 60. If you find that's too slow, just go a bit faster. I would say no more than 80, even if you're comfortable. There are other things you could focus on then. If that's too fast, bring it down, I would say down to 50. Below that, it gets complicated because you're gonna lose focus, most likely. So, all right, so that's 60, a metronome. Let's do it. And I'm gonna start with whole notes. So between C, I'm gonna start the metronome for a quick second. We're going between C, and this is assuming that you're comfortable playing the C chord and the A minor chord. So I'm looking at what the motion is. I'm finger dancing, so it has to be graceful and agile and smooth and relaxed. So almost as if I'm jumping from one chord position to the next. Really, really like a cat, you know? So, okay, let's go whole notes. 2, 3, and 4, and 2, 3, A minor, 2, 3, 4. Keep my hand moving even though I'm just, okay, maybe that's too fast, so let's go to 50 as I was talking about. Let's do this again. 3, 4, 2. You actually need to leave a bit before, maybe start somewhere around 4, leave, and you play that chord, and you switch. Let's go with half notes. 1, 2, 3, and switch. 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, and A minor. Let's go with quarter notes now. Let's 2, 3, 4, switch. 1. That was a bit early. Try to stay with the click. 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so that was a simple demonstration of practicing, finding my speed that worked for me, trying out different rhythms. It's a-okay if you just do the whole notes. Like, don't feel obligated to do more than that. I guess the goal here is what the goal is to get you in a spot where you're working on something and you feel slightly challenged, not overwhelmed, not like, I can't do this, I can't play ukulele. This is not the goal. The goal is stop at a place that makes sense for you. So options for those that are finding this too easy and are masters of keeping time with a metronome, use a more complicated rhythm. So there's not just rhythms 1, 2, or 3, maybe up to the rhythms that we saw this week, like the 7, have the 8th notes going on there. So make sure it matches your level. The principles are always the same. We want to have a metronome that at a speed that allows us to have control while being slightly challenged. And we want to work on the timing and in a context where we're programming our hands, basically. So, and we're looking at the different chord combinations to achieve this. All right, so let's do another one real quick. And so let's C and A minor, and that's not the right, Jeff. And so anyway, let's go between C and G7, which is another common one. Again, I'll list more of those real soon. All right, let's do this. C and G7. 1, 2, 3, G7. I'm sliding down. G7. Pivoting and back to C. 2, 3, and sliding, pivoting. 3, keeping the hand going. 1, 2, 3, 4, and G7. 2, 3, 4, and C. Okay, that seems like it could take a bit more. Let's bring it back to 60, just for fun. Okay, C, G7, whole notes, and half notes. So 1, 2, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and switch. 2, 3, back to C. Keep the hand going, keep the foot tapping. G7. Okay, nice. That works great. Okay. As you can tell, those are not impressive on their own, and you might be finding that even at that speed, you're like, ooh, I'm feeling rushed. There is a speed that works for you. Find that speed. But as you can imagine, spending time there, especially if you're being mindful and open-minded, this is going to pay off, because you could really do that 1,000 times while you're playing songs. So get it out of the way. This is the whole concept behind ukulele foundations, is you want to get things in a place that works for you, and where you're able to have all these foundations going. Okay, cool. So enough of that. Going back to our week, and I'm keeping an eye out on time as well. I'm going to extend a bit past 5 because there was the sound problem at the beginning. Okay, cool. We looked at rhythms as well, so let's talk about those. So again, we just did that a bunch. So to recap, you gotta tap your foot to the count. You gotta sing the rhythm. Sometimes if you wanna get it clear, especially when you're practicing rhythms, then, while the hand is going, while you're able to tapping your foot and you're able to enunciate / rap, whatever we want to call it, verbalize. That's probably I'm gonna use verbalize moving forward. When you're able to verbalize the rhythm while at least tapping your foot, and ideally tapping your foot and strumming your hand in the air, then you have the percussive chord, and then the real chord. So, and this week we talked about, of course, the upstrum and the upbeat, which is also the upstrum most of the time, and whether you want to use the index or to use the thumb. Both work, of course, with different sounds. Okay, so without any further ado, let's try to go for, is this the right one? It is the right one. Wow, first try. I'm impressed. I'm gonna reduce this slightly. Awesome. Good. All right, so rhythm number 7. Again, we're gonna use our friend metronome. For those that remember, on Pro Metronome, we have an option. You click on that quarter note and you switch things to 1/8 notes. And so that allows us to slow it down quite a bit. So let's try something. So first of all, can I go with the enunciation? So T, 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 T. So that's fine. Can I do that while having a metronome at 40? And remember, those subdivisions are in 1/8 notes. So T, 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 tapping the foot. Again, T, 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 T. Once I have that, maybe the hand T, 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 T. Strumming, percussive, and try to keep with that metronome. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Once you feel comfortable at any given point, just something to keep in mind. At any given point, you might derail slightly. which is okay. I mean, have a good laugh about it, but go back through the steps. Start at step one and build out. Eventually, it will become second nature. There might be a bit of trial and error at first, but hang in there is what my message is. Okay, so we keep building on what we had. So I'm going to use a chord. I'm going to use maybe F. So 1. Oh, I'm going to wait for the 1. No, that's not it. 2, 3, and 4. Let's go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and T, T, T. If you feel extra confident, you could switch chords every bar. At this point, the focus is on keeping a constant rhythm or stay on the same chord. So the goal here is not sound. I'm not focusing so much on the sound. Maybe if this is easy for you, this is something you could be doing, which is to focus on the sound itself. That might be actually a good use of your time as an option. Okay, good. So we have this one we just practiced, and I'm going to move on to rhythm number 8. And again, I won't see everything today because, well, we have a second play-along session. But it's to get you going. This is the goal of those sessions, is to get you practicing those concepts. All right, let's do this. I'm going to start with G7, my good friend. Actually, no, I'm going to do this properly. Da, T, 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 da, T, T, T. Ideally tapping your foot, so da, T, 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 da, T. And when you're good, you could bring in the percussion strum. Da, T, T, T. We have a chord or two. D minor. Again, get it really comfortable. Choose a strumming technique that works for you. Keep it going. If you need to adjust slightly as you're going along, that's fine. Okay, that's for rhythm number 8. Again, don't be afraid to go back and go through these steps as many times as necessary. Actually, I'm going to keep rhythm number 9 and 10 for, I mean, you could practice them today, but I want to see other things in today's practice. So I'm going to stop there. But whatever fits the amount of time you have to practice today. I would recommend, again, if you can do it at least 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or 20 to 30 minutes is fantastic. So keep 5 minutes for warming up, and then the rest is just practicing these things. And personally, like, go maybe for 15 minutes improvement on these things, and then leave yourself at least good 5 minutes at the end just to go crazy and play fun stuff. So speaking of which, we're going to go ahead and talk about simple songs. So we have a bunch of them here, and I'm gonna attempt the impossible here. Let's see if I'm able to pull it off. We have a bunch of songs. These are 2 chords or close to 2 chord songs. At least part of it is two chords. I have them here. There's also the spreadsheet that the people in the course have access to. I'm going to talk about Happy Birthday real quick because that's a classic. And I'm just going to open that in Ultimate Guitar. So we have 3 chords. So there's C, G7, and F. But that's such a classic that I think it's going to come in nicely. Okay, let me just go here. Okay, so a couple of things to talk about here real quick. Actually, I'm going to make myself a bit smaller so that I could show you more. Wow, this is the joys of lab again. Let me show you everyone here a bit more here. So nice. Okay, this is getting much better. Okay, so what I want to talk about is So you have most of the examples we're seeing so far are in the key of C. So usually the songs start with C, but that doesn't have to be that way. And so as long as you hit the transpose button here, you could play around with the results to chords that you know. So the key of C works great. The key of G also works really great if you're a beginner. If you're not a beginner, just go with whatever key works for you. Of course, it changes the melody, but let's say I'm in C here. I want to do something a bit different. So I know C, so I'm gonna go, I think that's it. That is now in a key of G. So magic. By the way, you do not have to play the D7 like this. You can use the Hawaiian D7, which will perform in front of your very eyes right now. So that's the Hawaiian D7 for those that don't know about it. Nice. Actually, I think I have it here. Let me show you. Hawaiian D7. There you go. Awesome. Okay, cool. So removing D7 from screen right now. So back to our program. So happy birthday. Could be in a key of C, could be in the key of G. For now, I'm going to keep it in the key of C just because I have something else to show you, but feel free to transpose those. And sometimes I make recommendations, and unfortunately, you'll notice that the chords there are not in the key or C or chords, you know. Click plus and minus until you get something that works. I'm even not going to use the capo here. That's how much of a rebel I am. Okay, cool. So, of course, you could use any of the rhythms we've seen so far to practice with this. But this song is in 3/4. So what does that mean? As a quick reminder, it means instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, what you're going to do is 1, 2, 3, 1, which means you typically switch chords around after each bar, after each 3. So that goes a little something like this. So that's good. Let me just switch this to 3/4. There you go. And I'm gonna put it back to quarter notes. That's a bit slow. That's 40. Let's bring it to 60. 1, 2, 3, 1. So let's just go with C1, 2, 3, G7, 2, 3, G7, and back to C, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 to F, 2, 3, C, G7, C. Okay, that was a bit fast. You don't have to do the ending like that. But my point is that works. So you could try any of the rhythms we've seen so far with that, or and a metronome. So this is 60. Maybe it's too fast for you. In which case, if it is too fast, just slow it down to 50, probably. But it's a great, see how we're at C, G7, and F. This is another great way to trick you into practicing those chord changes. And again, they go by pairs. So just work on the C to G7, then just work on the C to F. And if you have these two combinations, be ready to play Happy Birthday for anyone moving forward. If you want to spice it up quite a bit, I have another suggestion. This is a perfect way to end on a high note. I'm going to make a video for this, but there's an app out there called iReal Pro. And on computers, there's another one called Band in a Box, which does similar things, but that's much more expensive. So what does that do, iReal Pro? It's a way to have a practice backing track for all your stuff to make it less boring. It's a bit like having a band. I mean, granted, it's an electronic band, but it's better than no band. And so you could control if you just want the drums, if you want the drums, the bass, and sometimes the keyboard. And so that's a nice way to, and you can even control the style. So I have here pre-prepared a Happy Birthday in the key of C with a pop rock. So there's drums, there's bass, and I think there's organ going on. And so that's just silly fun. If you're interested, I could send you the arrangement for this. I'll put a link up for iReal Pro. It's a nice app to have. I think it's both Android and iOS. I'm going to double check this. But it's a great way to practice. And again, what you could do is you could slow it down until you find a speed that works for you. So let's try it. 3. 2, back to C. And F, C, G7, C. Okay, so that's a bit fast. That's around 86 BPMs. So no problem. I'm gonna go down to 60. And as you'll see, it works great. Okay, but I need to start it over again. Okay, that's the other thing I want to say. There's a count in. It goes 1, 2, 3, start. Okay, let's do it. 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear name. Happy birthday to you. And so on and so forth. So again, this makes it more fun. If you don't like the organ, as I just mentioned, you could just remove the organ. So I'm going to do that right now. It's a ton of fun. So I'm going to do a full video on this, but just to show you real quick, we'll change the style altogether. I missed the intro. 2. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, go to dear name. Happy birthday, keep the seat to you. And so on and so forth. All right, that was just my quick little fun technological add-on to this practice session. So we're about 30 minutes in. I'm gonna cut it there. Apologies for the technical difficulties at first. There was no sound, but we fixed it. We powered through. I hope you all have fun, and I will see you on Friday for part 2, or actually it's practice session, play along practice session number 4. Hope that was fun for everyone.